So I thought this little brief time that we have together, I would tell you about some of the most interesting things that I like to speak about. One of them is I like to speak about my year as the warden of the women's prison in California. In fact, I thought it was so interesting that I wrote a book about it, and it's called The Accidental Warden. And surely enough, it was an accident that I became the warden. I am listed in the database at the White House as one of the top businesswomen in the United States. And this was in a time when they were beginning to try to accumulate the names of women that might be excellent people to appoint to positions in the government. And so the prison in California was seeking an administrative woman, and the fact that I had no corrections experience didn't seem to daunt them one bit. So out of 380 women, I was selected as one of the final 3 and flown to California for the interview. And of course, this is what the book is about, and I don't want to read you the book, but I like to speak about it, and I like to tell people about how I fumbled around, finally learned how to do the job, and later had to manage the Manson family and had a meeting with Charlie Manson himself up in San Quentin, which was quite an interesting experience. So telling the story about my interesting and accidental year as the warden is one of the things that I like to tell people about. All right. Another subject that people enjoy hearing about is my experience as a franchise consultant. I was selected by Century 21 to be the top female in their corporation at a time when they had about 300 offices. And we went from 300 offices to 10,000 offices while I was a vice president there. My job was to create the internal operations for the headquarters and for the 36 regional offices that we had around the United States. I enjoyed it very much and learned a great deal about how franchising works and how to make successful franchises. After I left Century 21, I created a new corporation in California, Michigan, and in Phoenix, where I built franchise systems from someone's idea or concept or a going business. One exciting thing that happened was a gentleman from Argentina approached the International Franchise Association and said, "I'm coming to the United States and I want to meet with the best franchise consultant in America. Who is that?" And they said, "Well, Brook Carey is one of the top franchise developers." So he flew to Phoenix, met with Brook and her husband, Bill Carey, and together the 3 of us formed a corporation in Argentina. And subsequently later, Bill and I flew to Buenos Aires and did seminars on franchising for the first time. It was learned about in Latin America. So that was a big happy time, and in fact we still have our relationship with our partner down there. Okay. One of the subjects that I especially like sharing with my audiences is what I call how to get from Monday to Friday by Thursday. And of course that makes people laugh, but I have a handful of very interesting, original, new exercises and concepts that I share with my audience to help them with their business growth and their personal growth. So one of them is a problem-solving method that I created when I was teaching a class at a junior college about management. And I gave my students the assignment of selecting one problem in their work situation and reading 2 or 3 outside magazines or books on the subject, and then using the model that I created and taught them to apply that to the problem at work. Then they had to write a term paper and present it to the entire class. Now, to make it interesting, I asked the audiovisual director at the college to bring in an audio and visual setup so that we could film these students as they made their presentations, pretending that they were talking to their board of directors. This worked out wonderfully, except suddenly I realized that I had 40 students. They would have 40 papers, and my word, I had to read all these 40 papers and ask smart questions about them. So this is a big assignment for me. The most wonderful thing that I decided to do, that really helped me out, was to ask the following question to a student. Now, what did you get out of this particular exercise? And wonder of wonders, one after another. In fact, 95% of my students said they got a raise, a bonus, or a promotion when they presented this to their boss. So this problem-solving exercise is something I like to teach in most of my presentations, but especially in this getting from Monday to Friday by Thursday. It's one of the highlights that people, after hearing it, come up to me and frankly give me hugs because it's going to make a lot of money for them. So if you would like to hear this presentation, I have many little gems of wisdom that are original, not in any textbook, like this problem-solving exercise, that I believe would be valuable to you.